I'm David from Levika Photography, and today we're looking at a new lens. The Sigma 30mm F1.4 DC DN Lens. And what a killer little lens this is. So let's just dive on into this and get this going, shall we? Okay, so how do these two compare to each other? Well, the Sigma 30 is obviously bigger. That's this one right here. And the 28mm f2 is right here. Now the 28mm f2 can be used on full frame, so it has full coverage. Close, and in design they're very close to the same. 9 elements in 8 groups, 9 elements in 7 groups. They both have 9 bladed round apertures in them, and they both take lens hoods. This one is almost 10 ounces, this one is 7, so just slightly lighter. And the 28mm f2 through the entire f-stop range is just a hair, and I mean a hair, sharper than this. And the only way that you could distinguish the two is if you put the two side by side and pixel peeped for hours, then you would know that this one is just slightly sharper. So the build quality of this thing is excellent. It's nice and tight, no bump stops, no manual apertures, typical for, Sony AF lenses. It does, however, have a lens hood that comes off. The lens hood is not critical. This lens doesn't really have a problem with flaring, but the lens can be put on backwards. And one thing I really do like about this lens is that it takes 52mm threads. And I know a lot of you guys follow my channel pretty closely, so you'll know that I adapt all my lenses to 52mm. And the reason why I do that is because I've got a lot of Nikon AI glass, and they're all 52mm threads except for the wide-angle lenses. So if I buy step-up rings, it's a lot cheaper than buying filters for each lens. And when I'm in the field, I use polarizers and neutral density filters. Those are the only filters I carry with me. So I've already got 52. That makes this that much easier. But anyway, let's dive back into this. 9 elements in 7 groups, 9 bladed aperture, and just a rock solid design. So let's go take this for a walk and see what it's like. Okay, so that was a quick walk. Let's just take a look at these images really quick. Now this is Bill, the guy that sold me the lens, and this was the very first shot I took with the lens. So anyway, Bill works at Photoforum in Phoenix, and if you ever need a Sigma lens, see this guy. Anyway, I just wanted to show you, we've got some bleeding light coming through here, and this is the worst of the chromatic aberrations that we have to look at f1.4. This is a robot by Alexi de Villiers in my studio. So anyway, again, this is the worst of the chromatic aberrations. So purple fringing is not a problem at all. But the thing that's crazy is look at the lines on the TV. I mean, that is like insanely sharp. So this is an electrical main, and I shot this at f1.4, and as you can see, it's really, really sharp. And the same main at f16, and everything is in focus. Okay, so these types of trees make lenses vomit, and in this case this lens actually held up very well and stayed really sharp. Most inexpensive lenses will have a tendency to have a lot of severe chromatic aberrations in the blue areas in trees like this. Okay, so this was shot at f4.5, and this is very close to the lens sweet spot. So the lens itself, in the center, it becomes super sharp at f4, and the corners catch up with it all the way up to about f8, and then it starts to diffract after that. Okay, so really quick, let's edit this photo. Let's go in and tweak it really quick. So bring the exposure up quite a bit. We'll bring the highlights down, and we'll bring the whites down, and we'll add a gradient filter to the top to kind of make that just a little bit darker. And when we do that, we'll actually warm that filter just a little bit. And then
let's see here. Let's bring up the clarity and the vibrance and the saturation. A lot on the saturation. And maybe just the temperature overall, just to kind of warm it up just a touch. And then let's bring up noise reduction here to about, I'd say probably 28. Sounds pretty good. Now here's the thing about this lens. So what it has over the other lenses is built-in lens profile, 30mm F1.4 DC DN, blah blah blah. So all that info is right here. So the lens profile is actually built into the raw data. So now all you have to do is enable it. So you hit enable lens profile corrections and then just select Sigma, and there it is, done. So anyway, from here, let's go in, let's just open this and see how this looks. Now this particular image was actually shot at f1.4, and actually this looks really good. So if we just go in here, just view it at 100%, you can tell that this corner is actually very sharp, and then the quality of our bokeh in the background is extremely smooth. So yeah, this works. I like it. Anyway, back to our photos here. So this particular image I wanted to show you because this is the image with lens correction on, and this is what it looks like with it off. So it's a 4% barrel distortion correction. And to give you an idea, the Sony 28mm f2, my other favorite, is a 5% barrel distortion correction on this same image. So right here, just some macro work of some succulent plant on my walk, and I just love images like this because they look very surreal. And same plant, again, just a lot of fun. They look like dragons or something, I don't know. Anyway, this image is at f1.4. Now the crazy thing is, this image is at f11. So that gives you an idea of the testament of how sharp it is all the way through. This image right here is at f8, and you can see the cars are about 100 yards away, all the way to the post in the foreground, and everything is in focus and very sharp. And this one's at f6.7, so again, the more you get some distance between you and your object, the more you get everything in focus. So like with this image here, this is at f1.7, and really I think I just shot this so you could see what the corners look like, and they are just insanely sharp. I mean, this thing is excellent corners at f1.7. Okay, so again, another fire hydrant setup at f1.4, and this is a great testament to how well this lens controls bokeh. This again is at f1.4, and again is very sharp, shooting through glass. But what's really amazing is the quality of the bokeh that's on top of this. So this blurred reflection in the distance, just amazing. Anyway, palm trees. Palm trees have a tendency to make cheap lenses have chromatic aberration problems. And in here, no such luck. I mean, the thing is just insanely sharp. And right here, this is at f16, and I just wanted to show you there's some dirt on the lens that's actually coming into focus now. But again, everything here is just really sharp, and the corners at f16 look excellent. So, you know, the corners of this lens are just really good, except now we're picking up lens spots because of dust that's probably sitting on top. Anyway, this image here, I believe, is at f8, and you can see the cars in the distance are in focus all the way to the foreground. And again, at f8, if we look at these corners, just insanely sharp. Love it. Okay, so another testament to the bokeh, this tree, you know, with the layers of leaves behind it, good separation of background. I mean, it's just mind-blowing how soft the bokeh actually is. And it shows it even more here. I mean, just extremely well controlled. And right here, the same thing. And the same thing here. This again is at 1.4, and you know, really very sharp when you're actually looking at it. And this right here is at f2, and you can see how much this is actually coming back in. I mean, it's just getting sharper, and the ghosting effect of 1.4 is completely gone at f2, but the bokeh is still just amazingly smooth. And that brings me back to this one. So the sun is right here in this shot. What I was trying to do was create a glistening effect on the actual pavement. And usually this causes lenses to go crazy, and this is extremely well controlled. Okay, so resolution tests. Alright, let's get out of here and go down to the bottom. And all I wanted to show you here was what the vignetting looks like at f1.4. Very mild. And right here, this is at f2, and by f2.8 it's almost all completely gone. So again, on par with the Sony 28mm f2.
Okay, if we look at the autofocusing capabilities, in continuous AF, we actually do get phase detection across the entire screen now, which is good, instead of being stuck to the center. So this also means better tracking. Yay, I'm excited about that. And it works exactly the same way that the 28mm f2 does. So yeah, really excited about that. Now, one thing I should add to this, just so you guys know, is, you know, right now we're at f11 and we have phase detection. When you bump this up to f13, you'll notice that it just goes into contrast detection mode. And there's not a whole lot that we can really do about that. That's just kind of where it's at. So it does that at f13 and f16. Now, just so you know, I never talked about this in the Sony 28mm f2 review, but it does the exact same thing, where it's f13, f16, and f22 are all in contrast detection. I'm not sure exactly why they did that. That's a Sony thing. It's not a Sigma thing. So, very strange, but I just thought I'd share that with you guys. Alright, let's check out some lens flare control. And this is at 1.4, and you can see it definitely has some lens flaring going on, but from the side it's very well controlled, and it seems to do a very good job. It's when you get right in the middle of it that it starts to become problematic. And if you step this down, then it becomes more dominant, and you can actually start to see the shape of the iris. It's not bad at all. This is on par with the Sony 28 f2. Okay, so let's bounce over to CFL here. And CFL, you can see it does have some lens flare coming off, but still not bad, very well controlled. So, you know, pretty impressive overall. So what is the bottom line on this lens? Well, it is a huge advance from the last design, this stuff. Much better than the old rattly art lenses, although image quality wise the 60mm is still killer. But how does this compare to the 30mm Sigma f2.8 DN and RDN lenses? Far better. This thing has almost no chromatic aberrations, so nearly perfect. This thing trumps the 35mm f1.8 Zeiss Sony lens by a long shot. I mean, way, way, way better. Far better. And it's cheaper. So yeah, definitely get this over that. Would I recommend this one over the 28mm f2? Only if you're on a budget. This is slightly cheaper by about $100. So it's not a huge difference, but that 1.4 aperture is nice to have on APS-C size. So getting a slightly shallower depth of field. Now focal length wise on the a6000 they're very close. This one, if you guys watch my 28mm f2 review, you know that it has about a 5% barrel distortion when you're shooting at something 10 feet away or farther. This is 4%. So slightly less barrel distortion than the 28mm f2, but both of them, and the 28mm f2 with the firmware update to 3.10 on the a6000 and the A7R, now carries its EXIF data with it, so they both autocorrect. So there you go. But anyway, I hope you guys like this review. Give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel for more information like this. Otherwise, you guys have a good day. We'll see you later. Bye.